Welcome to Zone for Geeks. My name is Casey, and in this video we're going to be unboxing the Linksys AC1200 Plus. This is model number EA6350. I will include a link in the description below for anybody that wants to check it out. So before we go ahead and get this bad boy opened up, let's see what we're going to get. So 2.8 times faster speed. I'm assuming that that's okay, so faster than wireless in, so that's nice. Beamforming technology. The way beamforming technology works, you have to have a receiving device also capable of beamforming, but it's supposed to send the signal directly to the device instead of a blanket Wi-Fi signal just to anybody that might be listening. So in theory, it wouldn't really speed up transmission time, but it may speed up things for doing sending and receiving multiple web pages, streaming, things like that on a single device. So that would be nice. It's got the 2.4 and the 5 gigahertz dual band. And this is actually a good thing because a lot of AC routers don't have the 2.4. They're kind of phasing that out. But I have seen some new technology actually that does not recognize the 5 gigahertz band. Specifically, I've seen it in smart TVs. So make sure that you're either getting the 2.4 or all of your devices can support a 5 gigahertz dual band. We have the USB 3.0 ports, 4 gigabit ports for Ethernet, advanced security, the parental controls and the guest access I really like. So the parental controls, obviously, if you have kids, you can have the controls both on the computer side and on the Wi-Fi side, kind of give you a double measure of security there. And then for guest access, you can set up an individual guest password so you don't have to give your own personal password out. So that will help with some security. Alright, so now that we've got that out of the way, sorry about that, let's flip it over on the back. Everything that we just discussed here. It does have an app that you can use to keep track of your Wi-Fi, and you can manage it remotely. I've seen other routers like this, but I haven't really seen a point to it because if you're not going to be here, then you don't really care. So let's go ahead and open this up and let's see what comes in the box. See if we can figure out how this opens. Oh, there we go. Fix that. Alright, we have our quick start guide, our AC adapter, and this is kind of interesting. Documentation on a CD. If you noticed when I was unboxing, it said no disk installation required. And I was thinking to myself, you know, who has a CD player anymore anyways? But then they include the documentation on a CD. So that's interesting. Most of the time they'll just give you a website address or a small pocket guide. Alright, and of course we have the router itself. It's got the 2 antennas, adjustable of course. On the back, we can see the 4 ports and then the port for our internet, the USB 3.0. We have a, I'm not sure what that is, sync switch maybe, and then of course our reset button. Alright, and then this is most likely going to be our power. Yep. So, and there's for our power. There is no place for mounting. I'm planning on mounting as much as I can to my wall. So that's a little disappointing, but I might be able to just throw some Velcro on it and go that route. So let's see what else we got. And then we have a, most likely it's going to be a Cat 5. I doubt they would include a Cat 6. This modem or router was actually $69.99, so not really on the high end. About what I would expect to pay pretty much for any kind of mid-range modem, even back in the wireless N standards. So now that we've got that, there's nothing else in the box. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and get this installed, and we'll take a look at the software and see exactly how we can get all this configured. Okay, so once again we are in my very messy utility room. You can see I have the router already connected. I've got the wire right here going to my ARIS modem, which is up here. That's the 6141. If you guys have not seen my unboxing video for that, I just would recommend you guys take a look at that. Let me put this back up. Definitely going to have to clean this room in the next couple of days, but for now it'll be fine. And then of course we have the Cat6 cable going to my switch. All of my internal wiring is done with Cat6 cables and comes over here to the patch cable, which runs into the wall and throughout the house. So now that we've got everything connected, I'm going to go power up my computer and let's see what we can configure. Alright, so I pulled up Google Chrome and this is the first page that I have met with. So let's go ahead and follow through and let's see what we've got here. May take a minute or two. Should also point out I didn't have any problems getting the net or the router connected. Just plug in the two cables and came in here and booted up my computer and it was ready to go. Alright, I do want to go ahead and update the router automatically. That'll save me some trouble because I will never remember to do that. So here, let's change our network name. Let's see. Actually, I'm going to just change it to the. See if it'll allow me to put in the 2.4. Okay, so whatever I put down here is just going to include the 5 gigahertz, so I'll have two networks. So in that case, let's just go with home router 2.4. No. Alright, so I'll just need to remember that the home router and then the home router 5, the home router will be the 2.4. I don't want to make them all the same. Network passwords. I'm just going to do something generic for now, so we'll just do password. Surprising that it actually let me just use password. It didn't give me any type of warning or error that I should at the very least make something a little bit stronger. Alright, now for the router password, I'm going to do the same thing, just password, and I'll change these later. So obviously, you never want to just use the word password as a password. You should use something that's stronger. Otherwise, anybody can gain access to your router. Alright, and here is the information. So I'll be connecting to the 5 gigahertz most of the time. I'm not interested in creating the Wi-Fi account. And here we go. It looks like significant improvements. I have not used a Linksys router, a new Linksys router in quite a while. All of the routers that I have used have been Linksys, but the last one I bought was probably 3 or 4 years ago, and it definitely was not this sleek, cool-looking design. So let's just do a speed test. Let's see what happens here. So I don't have a W flash, and I'm definitely not installing that. So from device list, they should give us a list of everything that's actually connected. So of course we have our router. Let's see here, and computer. Don't know what that is. I'll worry about that later. Most likely that's actually probably going to be the modem. Nothing on the guest network. So guest access, we can turn this on. It does include the SSID for the guest, and then the password of Grape98. You can actually limit the number of guests that you want, which is nice. This is actually really good for small businesses. So if you want to have free Wi-Fi, but you don't want to obviously hand out your actual password, then you can do this, and you can also limit the number of guests so it doesn't slow down your network for your actual day-to-day operations. Okay. So we'll leave that as is. I don't see where I could change the password on this, so I might need to look that up later if I decide that was something I wanted to do. Parental controls are also. Let's turn that on. Let's see what we can. Okay, so this is just specifically for blocking internet as a whole. So I can do sometimes, always, or specific times, and then I can specify which computer. So for if I wanted to do my computer and let's do specific times, then I could just set out a block of time. Um, my kid's not old enough to have access to the internet right now, so I'm not worried about it. So let's see, what is media prioritization? Okay, so this is going to be if you want to give priority for specific devices. This is not really port forwarding. This is basically if you've got too high amounts of traffic, say a streaming video and maybe a game, you can specify that you want the streaming video to have higher priority, and the game may suffer some frame rate or some other issues while that's going on, and you can adjust that accordingly. So we're going to turn that off because I don't need to do that. External storage, I don't have any connected. I do have a media server, but that's for another video. Alright, so let's go with connectivity, see what we have in here. So here's our password. We can update our firmware. We can edit our password, obviously. Set our time zone, so I'll go ahead and do that. I'm in Eastern time. Alright, and then internet settings. We'll just kind of go through this. So this is going to be the default gateway. DCP server is enabled. If you guys saw my unboxing for the Aris, you will know the issue I had with that. The starting IP address, I don't know why it's starting at .100, so I'm just going to start this at .2 because um, the default gateway is going to be .1. So that's interesting. So anyways, the default gateway is going to be .1, so there's no reason why it should start with .100. That's just limiting the number of IP addresses that I have. Maximum number of users, I'm never going to have more than 50 people on here, so I'm just going to leave that as is. But it's actually nice if you renting or if you live with roommates and you want to limit the number of people who can be on because you've got a rotating door, then that would be beneficial. Subnet mask, that's going to be .0. Lease time, so 1,440 seconds for the DHCP. That'll be fine. Let's see here. The VLAN, that's going to be for remote access. If ever I wanted to remotely access the network, I could use the VLAN for that. And then, let's see here. All of that. Cancel out of there. So we have in here for wireless. So MAC filtering, if we want to limit who can and cannot connect to our network, we can do that. Of course, our password settings, security mode settings, channel is going to be automatic. Let's see, password also for the 5 gigahertz. Protected setup, okay, so that's going to be, that button on the back of it's going to be for protected setup, but we did not need to actually use that. And then the wireless schedule, of course, you can limit the access to the internet at specific times. And then finally, we come down to security. And this is, I haven't yet to see port forwarding, but this is where I would expect to see it. So apps and gaming, that's going to be your port forwarding. And I actually use this because I have cameras, security cameras in my home. So I want to be able to look at them when I'm not here. So I'll need to actually add the ports for that and set that up properly because that was set up for my old Comcast router. All right, so overall, not a bad little Wi-Fi device for what was it, $69.99, I believe. I purchased it at Best Buy. So one thing I did want to see, I want to see if I just type in the gateway itself, it should pull me right back to this page, and it does. So, and then we'll type in my password, which again is just password, and there we go. If you guys recalled earlier, the URL was actually a .com with the port number for DNS, I should say. So and then, of course, on the main page here, we actually get some useful information. Just information at a glance. Again, if you're a small business, this is great to just already have access to this. So overall, very nice device. I'm very happy with the way that it was it's set up. I enjoy um, the the visuals that it has. One thing I will do is after about 6 months, I'll include another video. Or not 6 months, after about 30 days, I'll include another video with my impressions as using it over the last month, because it's really hard to get a good determination based on um, just a few minutes worth of use. But let's go ahead and do a speed test since that was an option. And let's see. Now, when I was plugged directly into my modem, I was getting about 90 up and 12 down. So let's see what we've got here. All right, so it gave me a 91 down, and it looks like we are going to hit around the 12 up. And there's yesterday when I ran the speed test when I was directly connected to my modem, it was about 8 o'clock at night. So now it's about 10 o'clock in the morning. So there's a little bit of a time difference there. But overall, what I would expect to see. So I didn't lose anything. I didn't gain anything. Um, and not bad. I spent $59.99 on the modem, and I spent $69.99 on the router. So for right around $150 or so, then you can get a decent home setup. So if you guys have any questions or comments, feel free to leave them in the comment section below, and don't forget to subscribe.